Hey guys, it's me, Keisha, and I'm here with another video. A little public service announcement, if you will. Um, Yesterday was National Voter Registration Day, and so that got me kind of, pumped up about getting a video out on the issue of voting. I am already ready to vote. I got my absentee ballot last week. We filled it out. I've already sealed it and signed it, just ready to deliver it. I just kind of want to see where you guys are with it. I'm voting absentee because, of course, I'm in California. I am from Texas, and so because I won't be able to be in Texas during election time, if I want to participate, I have to send in my absentee ballot this way. The same goes for you guys if you live overseas, if you live out of state. That's the way you're going to have to vote if you want to participate in the election this year. You can also, of course, go down to the polls and vote. And this year, the early voting days are already set in place, and they're going to be October 22nd through November the 2nd. So if you want to get down there early and get to voting and you want to beat the crowds and whatnot, then you can go ahead and vote during that time. Or you can wait and vote on the general election day, which is November the 6th. And so you want to check and make sure that your state is actually going to do early voting this year. A lot of states are not going to be doing early voting. So you may want to check your local area to see, if this is an option for you. If not, then you may have to make, some kind of arrangement in order to get off work or do what you have to do in order to get down there, and be able to vote this year on November the 6th. Okay? Now, in order to vote, you must be registered to vote, okay? And you can register to vote, at a registration booth, or you can register online, which is fairly easy. That's how I register. But the registration deadline is October the 9th. So if you plan on voting in this election this year, you need to be registered to vote and register quickly because October 9th will be here before you know it. So get registered to vote. One of the big things this year surrounding voting is the voting ID, the voter ID issue, surrounding voter fraud and whatnot. So a lot of states are requiring that you have a certain type of ID. And so that type of ID is going to be a government issued ID, and it has to be current. A lot of people are making remarks, stating, they don't understand why people don't have IDs and things like that because you need IDs to do this and to do that. Well, that's not so much the issue as the issue of it being a government issued ID and it being current. You have a lot of young people who are transient, they're in college and they're doing certain things, and they may not have a particular state ID, but they may have a college ID. And see, a few years ago when we first voted, like in 2008 and, and beyond, you were able to use your college ID at the polls to identify who you were, but no longer. They're not going to allow it. So you're going to have to get a state ID. Or you're going to have to vote absentee, which is probably what a lot of kids may do unless they fly home or things like that. And then a lot of people can't afford to fly home and do things, so they're gonna have to vote, absentee or find another way to do it. Also, the elderly are, really, hit up with this because they may have ID, but it may not be current. A lot of people, have gotten older and they're no longer driving, but they still have a driver's license. And with that driver's license, they're able to identify themselves at the bank or other places. But if they go to the polls with the ID and it's expired, it's not going to be accepted. And so the thing about it is, you have older people who, may not have access to their birth certificate or whatever the case may be because, the way they kept records back in the day, they may not have, that access, or they can't find them, or whatever the case may be. So therefore, they can't get a current ID and they won't be able to participate, in the election. So a lot of people are affected, in that area. And so it's important that you, first check your IDs, make sure that they're current, and make sure, that it matches your registration ID. That's another thing. If you register with this particular address, the ID that you show must be the same ID, the same address that you registered with. They have to match. If not, not going to accept it because it's not going to be considered current. So make sure, that your IDs are updated or your addresses are updated or whatever the case may be. Do whatever you have to do to make sure that your voter ID will be, in order and you can vote. I don't know how they're going to set it up. I don't know what they're going to do, the system that's in place to check, the voter IDs and things like that. But whatever they do, you want to be prepared. You want to make sure that you're able to, vote and you'll be heard, basically. Make sure that before you vote, that you do your research, that you go online, you listen to debates, you listen to what the candidates have to say, but you're not just going in blind and voting because you think this person looks good or they sounded good or you think this person, or the person is the person that my parents voted for, or I've always voted this way, I'm going to vote this way this year, and just doesn't matter what's going on, this is the way I'm voting. No, that's not really educated. You should not, well, I'm not going to say not educated, I'm just saying you should not vote that way. You should be able to make an educated decision when you walk into the polls. You should be basing your vote off of the issues that you've listened to, and things like that. It shouldn't just be a popularity situation or a go along to get along type of thing. It should be really something that's going to affect you, because whoever you put in office, they're going to be making decisions on your family, on your finances, on your future. And that's what you have to look at. And you have to make sure that the candidate that you choose, is the best candidate for that job. Okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that. Me personally, I think, we all should be out there at the polls voting. That's just me and my take. Especially, as an African American, so many people have gone on before me and paved the way, so to speak. They have marched, they have protested, to be able to have the right as an African American and the privilege to be able to vote. Even in the realm of being a woman, a lot of women, have marched and protested so that women can have a voice in this society. And me not to vote, would only be a disservice to myself and my family. But it would just, make everything that my, ancestors did, it just make it, feel like it's in vain if I didn't, go out and vote. And so, whatever your reasons may be, for voting or not voting, I hope that, that like, again, you'll go and you'll make an educated decision when you go in the polls, or if you don't go in the polls, whatever the case may be. You want to encourage others. If you're going to vote, encourage others, because it's going to take a collaborative effort, in order to, make a change in our society, or, or whatever the case may be. We're going to have to participate. Everybody's going to have to do their part, and we don't all have platforms to stand on. We don't all have, these big, stages that we can get on and just voice our opinions. So in your little circle that you have of friends, you can be that voice, and you can, kind of take that time and ask your friends, over lunch or whatever, you guys are going to vote. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big, partisan thing. You don't have to try to get people to vote for who you want people to vote for, or whatever. It's just to get out there and vote. And so, ask people, are you going to vote? Are you registered? Well, if you're not registered, do you know that the deadline is coming soon? You might want to go ahead and, handle that. And so, just kind of educate people and, and motivate them to get out there and get it done. And I hope that's what I've done today. I hope that this video has motivated you, educated, and encouraged you, to get out there and get the job done and vote. Okay? If there are any questions or comments, feel free to hit me up on my blog, Facebook, or on YouTube. Peace.